This is the first day of Unit 3, solving two-step equations. Now in Unit 2, you solved for a variable by moving an integer from one side of the equation to the other, or perhaps you multiplied it or divided. This time we're going to do both of those steps. But first, we're going to play a little bit. Look at this equation we have. V over 6 plus 3 equals 8. Well, one way to solve that equation is to plug in various values and see if any of them work. So let's take a look. I'm going to plug in negative 60 for V over 6 plus 3 equals 8. Now let's do the math. Negative 60 divided by 6 is negative 10 plus 3 equals 8. Negative 7 equals 8. Well, does negative 7 equal 8? No, it is not a solution. Negative 60 is not a solution to this equation up here. I'm going to circle the equation so you keep on going back to it. That's the one we're using. Let's try another number. Maybe negative 24 is the right answer. Negative 24 divided by 6 plus 3. We'll see if it equals 8. Whoops. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4 plus 3 equals 8. Negative 1 equals 8. Negative 1 does not equal 8, so that's another no. All right, two numbers down. Let's try another number. Maybe we can find the answer this time. 48. Oh, that might be a good one. 48 divided by 6 plus 3 equals 8. What's 48 divided by 6? It is. It's 8. Plus 3 equals 8. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? 11 does not equal 8. Well, 48 doesn't work either. Okay, this is getting annoying. I still have to find one that works. Let's try 18. 18 divided by 6 plus 3 equals 8. Well, 18 divided by 6 is 3, plus 3. No, 6 doesn't equal 8. None of these work. We just did 4 long equations, and none of those answers work. There has got to be a better way. We'll put that on the back burner for now. Let's try another one. And this time we're going to look at each value of u and determine whether these values are solutions to 61 equals 5 minus 7u. Now remember, when you have a variable and an integer, like we have negative 7 right by the u, that means multiplication. So let's go ahead and do it. 61 equals 5 minus 7 times 2. 61 equals 5 minus 14. Do I need to go any further? We know that's not anywhere near 61. That's another no. We're doing a lot of math and not getting a lot of good answers, are we? Let's try another one. 61 equals 5 minus 7 times negative 8. Now let's pay attention to order of operations. And we actually the whole way through. You multiply first. Look up here. I'm going to do a little highlighting. We did, in the first one, we did the division before we did the addition and subtraction, right? Because in order of operations, the division came first. So that's what we did. We did that part of the problem first. So now, let's see what we have. 61 equals 5 minus negative 56, because because 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. So you have 5 minus negative 56. And remember what you do with that when you have two negatives together. There we go. You can connect them. See how I did that? Made a plus sign? I'll rewrite the equation. That's like saying 61 equals 5 plus 56. And 61 does equal 61. Hey, we have an answer. A good one, rather. We always had answers. So in the top equation, we had 4 values. Not one of them worked. We did a lot of work to find out that none of them made it. Here, we didn't have to do quite as much work, but we found one. But we're not done. We still have 2 more values to test. 61 equals 5 minus 7 times 1. 61 equals 5 minus 7. I don't think I need to go any further. You know that's not 61. Nope. Last one. 61 equals 5 minus 7 times negative 7. 61 equals 5 minus negative 49. Same thing. Remember what I said about minus and negative turns it into a plus. 61 equals 5 plus 49. That equals, 61 equals 64. That's another no. It's a lot of work. Well, I'm going to show you on the next page a better way to do this. I'm not going to do these same exact equations, but I'm going to show you how we can figure out a faster way to do it. Now we're going to work on solving our 2-step equations, but we've got to remember a couple things. Look at the top of the page. We say we work backwards, use inverse operations to work backwards. Okay, that sounds really weird. An inverse operation is an operation that undoes. Addition undoes subtraction. Subtraction undoes addition. They're the opposites. So you undo addition and subtraction first. We do that because we want to move any extra numbers away from our variable. Let's get into the equation. I'll show you. First, I'm going to draw my t like I always did. I don't stop doing that. Okay, don't stop doing that. It's a really good habit to get into. Now, we have 3x plus 16 equals 40. We need to get the x by itself, but first we have to move it. So we're going to get the 3x alone. We're going to add or subtract first. We're going to undo addition by subtracting. Draw a line. So I have 3x equals 24 because these become 0. Now I need to get my x to 1x. So I'm going to undo multiplication, divide by 3. At this point, folks, it's going to be easier for you to use the fraction bars than to write a division sign. So use the fraction bar as a division sign. It's going to be clearer for you. X equals 8. That's not so bad. Let's do another one. Do our bars, do our t. All right. We're going to leave the x over 5, the x divided by 5 alone. We're going to move the other part, the dingle-dangly part. The opposite of minus 16 is plus 16. I know it's a coincidence. We have the same number in 2 problems. So 28 equals x over 5. But I'm not done. I think you know that. Remember what I showed you to do and went over it again this past week. When you're going to multiply to help you remember, I do the circles. So 28 times 5 is 140 equals x. Because I'm multiplying this denominator by that number. I can't do that until I have all the numbers in place. The last step in these problems is going to be multiplying or dividing. Okay? You cannot multiply or divide first. It's not going to come out right. Your first step is adding or subtracting. Your second step is going to, or last step is going to be multiplying or dividing. All right, let's move on. I'm getting a little more complicated with a negative w. Now, do you remember what the invisible number is in front of our variables that we never write? It's the 1. So if we had a negative sign in front of our variable, it's like saying -1. All right, let's move our 31. We're going to undo the addition by subtracting. Whoops, I almost wrote 32. You guys have no idea how I've been struggling over this one today. So I still have negative w, because that's a 0, equals 191. But the rule is the variable must be positive. Not the answer has to be positive, just the variable has to be positive. Okay, remember, there's an invisible 1, so w is being multiplied by -1. So to undo it, we're going to divide by -1. W equals -191. Because when you multiply or divide signs that are the same, the answer is positive. That's what happened with our W. When you multiply or divide signs that are different, the answer is negative. That happened with our 191. All right, moving on. Draw my T. Same process. The opposite of a positive 218 is a negative 218. How do I know it's positive? Because in math, everything is positive unless we tell you differently. So just assume everything's positive unless you see a negative sign. Negative x equals 100, almost. Negative 101, because my negative 218 is bigger than my positive 117. So the answer is negative. Again, I need a positive x, so I'm going to divide by -1. X equals positive 101. Did 2 steps. First we moved the 218 and then we divided by -1. Last 2 for the day. Okay, there's my T. Now I'm still going to move things, but just like in the first problem, I've got something attached to the y. -4 is attached to the y. So I'm going to move the 6. I want the 4y to be alone. Move a +6, +6. So I have -4 equals -4y. I need positive 1y, so I divide by whatever is in front of the y. That's a -4. 1 equals, whoops, 1 equals y. There we go. When you divide something by itself, it's not 0, it's 1, because you're not subtracting, you're dividing. That shows up sometimes. All right. Last part. Last one. Okay, we're going to, like the problem at the top of the page, like number 2, we're going to leave u divided by 5 alone. We're going to move 3.2. So that is -12.5 equals u over 5, because that becomes 0. I know I don't cross it out every time. I just don't, no particular reason. Remember, the whole reason for adding the opposite, which sometimes means subtract, is so you can make it 0. You can move it. So now we want to multiply. This becomes -62.5, be dazzled by my mental math, equals u. isn't very difficult, but I want you to practice. You need to do the work in Alex because this is a skill that needs practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you are. All right, that's it, guys.